shock. Naval warfare is entering a whole new era. A game-changing superweapon is emerging. Ukraine is stunning the world with cutting-edge developments. Sea drones are set to revolutionize the battlefield. A breakthrough submarine is making global waves. The Kremlin is in panic. These technologies are beyond their reach. Meanwhile, the Iron Dome is operating at full capacity. Ukrainian air defense is setting remarkable records. Ukrainian technology is taking control of the war, and Russia is struggling to respond. Let's talk about it. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. Maria Farafonova here with the latest updates. Ukraine is likely introducing a new type of American-made naval drone. One of the IQ-W drones possibly used in the war against Russia washed ashore in Turkey after losing control. It is expected to be destroyed at sea after inspection. The drone is reportedly up to 10 meters long, can travel at speeds of around 45 kilometers per hour, carry up to 300 kilograms of payload, and has a range of up to 900 kilometers. The most likely explanation of how the drone ended up near Turkey is its possible use or testing in Ukraine. Previously, there had been no official reports that Ukraine possesses or was testing such drones. Similar discoveries have occurred before along the Turkish coast. A comparable situation happened with Ukrainian naval drones. They were first revealed in 2022 when one washed ashore near Sevastopol. That same year, they began to be used in combat and have since repeatedly struck Russian naval vessels and other targets. In recent years, Ukrainian naval drones have significantly improved and become an important tool of warfare. Notably, there was a case when the surface drones shot down a Russian Su-30 aircraft. These systems have already proven their effectiveness in combat and may attract interest from other countries. If the United States is indeed testing its own naval drones in Ukraine, they may be refining them based on real combat experience. In the future, this could create competition for Ukrainian developments on the global arms market. At the same time, it is possible that this drone was developed with the involvement of Ukrainian specialists or in cooperation with Ukrainian companies. The first prototype of a submarine developed by a Ukrainian team. Highland Systems, founded by Ukrainian developers and known for its hybrid armored vehicle Storm, has unveiled a new stealth submarine called Kronos. This is a futuristic designed submarine intended for a wide range of missions, from commercial and rescue operations to full-scale combat missions. For combat purposes, the submarine is equipped with 6 Black Scorpion torpedoes from the Italian company Leonardo, 3 on each side of the sub. This 127mm torpedo, 1.1 meters in length and weighing up to 20 kilograms, is capable of striking targets at distances of up to 3 kilometers. The Kronos submarine can also carry up to 10 personnel who are able to exit the vessel directly underwater. In addition, the submarine can be operated remotely, with a control range of over 250 kilometers via secure channels. In this configuration, Kronos can primarily be used to transport more than 3 tons of cargo. The submarine is coated with a special composite material both inside and out, which helps retain heat and makes it more difficult for enemy sonar systems to detect. This kind of advanced technology is truly set to make waves worldwide. The Iron Dome is operating at full capacity. A naval Mi-8 helicopter destroyed 12 Shahed-type drones in just 3 hours. The corresponding video was released by the Ukrainian Navy press service. To engage the targets, the crew used onboard weapons. Enemy drones were intercepted over the sea, minimizing the risk of debris falling on residential areas. At the same time, the crew faced significant risks. Fight conditions over the sea are much more difficult than over land. In addition, there is always the threat of interference from Russian aviation. The need to use army aviation to destroy drones arose after Russian UAVs began flying at increasingly higher altitudes. The effectiveness of helicopter use depends on many factors, including crew training and the timely detection of enemy targets. Intercepting targets using onboard weapons poses a threat to the crew. In the event of an unsuccessful hit on the warhead of a kamikaze drone, it may detonate and damage the helicopter with fragments if it gets too close. Army aviation has specialized Mi-8 helicopters for such tasks, equipped with onboard electro-optical systems with day and night channels, situational awareness tools, and onboard weapon systems. In particular, such helicopters are equipped with M134 machine guns. We Mikhailo Fedorov is reshaping the military situation in Ukraine, transforming the armed forces and strengthening the country's position on the global stage. International experts note that Fedorov is focusing on three key pillars: securing the skies, wearing down enemy manpower, and striking Russia's economy. All the details in our report.
Ukraine's new defense minister Fedorov is only in his third month in office, but he's already managed to implement several shocking reforms that have the enemy in a real panic.
The president set a clear task to build a system capable of stopping the enemy in the sky, their progress on the ground, to strengthen asymmetric strikes against the enemy and its economy, to make the cost of war for Russia something it simply cannot afford, to stop the enemy by force.
The new minister is not afraid of change and is actively introducing technologies into the army from his time at the Ministry of Digital Transformation.
We began to systematically address asymmetric solutions where conventional warfare would be too expensive or impossible for us. FPV drones instead of anti-tank guided missiles to destroy armored vehicles, quadcopters instead of scarce ammunition and artillery, Ukrainian Lancets instead of HIMARS, interceptors as part of the air defense system.
First and foremost is the new minister's statement that the number of Russian casualties needs to be increased to 50,000 soldiers per month.
Yes, indeed, Fedorov has the opportunity to create conditions such that the Russian army begins to lose more people than that army receives every month. That is, right now it receives about 30,000 Russians, and if it loses 50, then that of course will create serious problems for Russia. And overall, from their perspective, this could put Russia on a track that leads to defeat in the war as a whole.
The propagandists have started having nervous convulsions because they also understand that such a goal is quite achievable and very soon.
He's a truly capable organizer of drone production. And now he has set the task of bringing the losses of the armed forces of the Russian Federation to 50,000 a month, well, thanks to drones. And in general, I believe that this is quite a serious enemy, a serious challenge.
They particularly emphasize, as I said, that Fedorov was born in 1992. That makes him 34 years old, it turns out. Well, yes, and from the point of view of these military correspondents, this creates very big problems for the Russian military command, for the Russian army, since the Russian command and the Russian army are still living in the Soviet era. From their point of view, Fedorov is a very capable organizer, a manager, and in general, one cannot but agree with this. Indeed, those people who know him in Ukraine give him the same assessment here.
Another challenge that the new defense minister managed to solve was finally blocking Starlink for the Russians and provoking another series of tantrums among Putin's lackeys.
We need Starlink to work there because certain technologies are being used that are also important to us. They are related to drones. There is another way to make it so that our Starlinks work while the Starlinks that essentially appear there by other means do not work. And so we are working with SpaceX to resolve this issue.
I would also like to draw your attention to the colossal love between Elon Musk and the scoundrel, murderer, thief, and Russophobe, the current Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Fedorov, who, let me remind you, calls for the murder of 50,000 Russians. And Musk is fully prepared to provide him with absolutely full support by blocking certain capabilities for which, by the way, he receives money from Starlink. And there should be no illusions here. There is no Starlink as an independent company.
In addition, at his first Ramstein meeting, Fedorov managed to secure a record amount of support from partners for necessary weaponry.
Today we heard announcements for nearly $38 billion. They are going specifically toward air defense systems, drones, the development of drone assault units, deep strikes, and interceptor drones.
Also, the new defense minister travels to the front lines and is preparing a reform of the Ukrainian army to make justice the core value and attract more volunteers.
I just returned yesterday morning from a trip along the front. We met with 10 commanders of corps and brigades, including those in various task forces. I asked many questions regarding our vision, how we will resolve this issue, and how we propose to solve it. Our task is to get information from the military personnel working with AWOL cases. Where AWOL occurs, who returns from AWOL, who works with the mobilized, to understand the feedback.
Putin and his inner circle still dream that one day loyal people will come to power in Ukraine and agree to all their demands. But instead, with all the new appointments, things will only get worse for the Russian criminal army.
Russia's spring-summer offensive on the front has failed, and the Kremlin is already preparing to justify this to its population. Meanwhile, Ukrainian defenders are advancing, steadily liberating new territories and inflicting massive losses and damage to the enemy. Full details in the report.
With the arrival of spring, the occupation units, as usual, moved forward. But the current colossal losses suffered by the Russian army in these countless and senseless assaults are already being criticized by even the most pro-Kremlin military bloggers.
On March 19th, the commander of the 144th Motorized Rifle Division, Major General Dmitry Mikhailov, pushed significant forces of his division into an attack on enemy positions. The outcome was tragic. They report the destruction of over 80 units of motorized equipment, 3 tanks, 11 infantry fighting vehicles and armored personnel carriers, 5 artillery pieces, 1 Solntsepyok, and about 160 drones. Of course, if the operational situation allows for large-scale offensive operations, then one should take advantage of that. But the key to all of this is if the situation allows, a commander must rationally weigh the risks and the potential outcome when making a decision, rather than just gambling on luck.
We are talking about the Lyman direction, but on other sectors of the front, the criticism is the same. Exhausting assaults do not yield the desired result and lead to colossal losses.
And Russian generals are simply stepping on the same old rake. I mean, every year the same situation repeats itself. Spring arrives, the soil has already dried out, the mud season is practically over. It's possible to attack. Attack with what? Well, let's go attack with tanks and armored vehicles. Never mind that there are drones in the air. Let's attack with tanks.
The Ukrainian General Staff states that the Russian army has set a new record for losses. In 4 days, from March 19th to 23rd, the occupiers lost 6,100 soldiers. The fact that the occupation forces have begun a massive offensive was also confirmed by the commander-in-chief of the AFU, Syrskyi. The Russian army is trying with all its might at the start of spring to break through the Ukrainian defense.
The enemy tried to break through the defensive formations of our troops in several strategic directions at once. Fierce battles have unfolded along the entire line of combat engagement. In total, the enemy conducted 619 assault actions over these 4 days. The occupiers concentrated their main strike on the Pokrovsk and Oleksandrivka directions, where the highest number of enemy attacks occurred. Specifically, in the Pokrovsk direction, the enemy attacked our troops' positions 163 times, and in the Oleksandrivka direction, 96 times.
Analysts from the American Institute for the Study of War believe that Russia's spring-summer campaign has already failed. Losses are incomparable to the recruitment of new soldiers, and the Kremlin already has little equipment left.
Such a high level of losses is unacceptable, given the current pace of recruitment in Russia, and will likely reduce Russia's ability to conduct such large-scale assaults in the medium and long term.
For now, the Russian army can still afford such large losses, and it is still too early to say that the occupiers' offensive has been thwarted. So far, the AFU has had initial successes, and they need to be consolidated.
A specific attack has been thwarted. So right now, they've thwarted a number of attacks in various directions. But saying that the offensive has been thwarted creates a misunderstanding of the current combat situation on the front line. I mean, it gives the impression that we're talking about the entire Russian offensive operation being completely, well, thwarted. And now the Russian generals are sitting there scratching their heads like, what do we do? Damn, the plan didn't work. Let's put it on hold for now. Come up with a new direction for the attack and strike there. No, nothing like that is happening. Specific attacks have been thwarted.
According to analysts, Russian troops are unlikely to capture the belt of fortresses in Donbas in 2026. Most likely, they will achieve minor tactical successes, and even then at the cost of heavy losses. Therefore, the top Kremlin officials are already preparing the population for the fact that there will definitely be no major successes at the front this year.
Russian officials are already shaping expectations in the information space regarding relatively slow progress and heavy losses. However, one of the deputies of the Russian State Duma stated on March 23rd that there are casualties in all wars, but Russian troops will try to minimize losses by advancing slowly towards Sloviansk and Kramatorsk.
The spring-summer campaign of 2026 has only just begun, and the armed forces of Ukraine clearly had a successful start. Ukrainian troops are acting proactively and inflicting huge losses on the enemy, but this is only the beginning of the campaign.
What do you think about the latest events? Share your opinion in the comments, like the video and subscribe to stay informed about the main headlines. See you soon!